talk about Cramer's rule, which uses the other thing we've learned about matrices, which is determinants. So before I get into this statement, using determinants, the solution to the system is, I'm going to make a statement here that says, let D equal the determinant of the coefficient matrix. So if you're working with a two-variable system with just x and y, your coefficient matrix is going to be 2 by 2, a column for x and a column for y for both equations. If you're doing a three-variable system, your determinant is going to be 3 by 3, because you're going to have three equations with three variables, x, y, and z. And we could all agree that from our notes on Tuesday, we know how to calculate the determinant, whether it's 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. So D is just going to be a placeholder for the determinant of our coefficient matrix. All right. If you want to solve for x, then you are going to do D sub x divided by D. D sub x divided by D. Now we know what D is. I told you, let D be the determinant of the coefficient matrix. So you can get that real easy from your system. Write out your coefficients as a matrix, find their determinant. D sub x is going to be the determinant of the coefficient matrix if the x column is replaced with the constants. So it's another determinant. It's not the determinant of the exact coefficient matrix, because then we would always get 1. What we're going to do is whatever letter you're solving for, so in this case we're solving for x, we're going to take out all the coefficients from x and drop in the constants, what the equations are equal to. Okay. Calculate a new determinant, divide that determinant by the determinant of your coefficient, and that's your value of x. So that continues for all variables. So if I want to find y, that's d sub y divided by d. So that d sub y means go back to your coefficient matrix. This time replace the y column, all of the y coefficients, with the numbers that are the constants in the linear system. So things on the other side of the equal sign. And that would continue, depending on your system, however many variables you have unknowns. So I'm going to put z up here. Z equals d sub z divided by d. And then I'll just put like dot, dot, dot. It just keeps going. So you could do this for a 5 by 5. Okay, of course, we don't know how to do 5 by 5 determinants. We would use our calculator for that. Okay, so let's put this into action. We'll do 2 examples. We'll do one with a 2-variable system, one with a 3-variable system, and then you'll get some time to work on your homework assignment today. So here's our first example. 3x plus 4y equals 1, and 5x plus 3y equals 9. If we want to solve by Cramer's rule, we're going to immediately need to know our determinant for our coefficient matrix. So I always do that right at the very beginning of my problem. Kind of do it up here off to the side. D equals the determinant of, in this case, 3, 4, 5, 3. A 2 by 2 determinant is very easy. It's just the difference of the diagonals. So I'm going to get 9 minus 20, which is negative 11. I know that when I solve for x and when I solve for y, I'm going to be getting a new determinant in my numerator, but then I'm going to be dividing by negative 11. So let's solve for x. Okay, x is going to need a new determinant, d sub x, but then I'm going to divide it by the determinant which I just found, which was negative 11. To do my new determinant, in my original coefficient matrix, my x column was 3, 5. I'm going to replace that with my constants in the system, which are 1, 9. So I'm going to put those in the x column. Leave the y coefficients as they appear in the system. So 4 and 3. And then do a new determinant. So that's going to be 3 minus 36, which is negative 33 over negative 11, and 3. So I have the x-coordinate of my solution. And now I'd like my y. So if I want to find y, then this time in my coefficient matrix, I'll be replacing my y column. So that's the second column where 4 and 3 were. But I'm still going to be putting in 1 and 9, my constants. So I'll put 1 and 9 in the y column. Use the original x coefficient, so whatever's in the system, 3 and 5. Calculate again. This will be 27 minus 5 over negative 11. That's 22 over negative 11, which is negative 2. Not too bad, right? I actually really like doing Cramer's rule when it's 2 variable because I like 2 by 2 determinants. Those are easy and fast. Any questions or concerns? Okay, we're going to do a 3 variable system. We are going to do a little bit of crowdsourcing. When we get to X, Y, and Z, I'll split you guys up and have different pods do different letters. Okay. So we'll start together with the new system, and we'll calculate the determinant of the coefficient matrix as a group. And then I'll leave you with your group. I'll tell you which variable I want to choose. So our system here is 4x minus y plus z equals 12. 2x plus 2y plus 3z equals 1. And 5x minus 2y plus 6z equals 22. Well, just like before, I'm going to go ahead and start with my determinant. So I'm going to drop in my coefficients. I always kind of do like a quick double check. Did I write down the numbers and the signs correctly? You could imagine if you do your first determinant wrong, then none of your answers are going to be right. That's going to be a bummer. So now I'm going to do my diagonals going down. I've copied my first 2 columns. I'm going to get what? 48 minus 15 minus 4, so that's 29. And then I'm going to do my diagonals going up. That's 10 minus 24 minus 12. So that gets me to negative 26. What am I doing with those 2 numbers in blue and red? finding the difference, so I'm subtracting them. You have to be careful on this one. That's 29 minus negative 26. So that's actually 29 plus 26, which is 55. Okay. So we now know this is the correct determinant for our coefficient matrix, 55. We're going to find the values of x, y, and z. So I'm going to let this side of the room, you guys find x. This middle section of the room, you guys are going to be in charge of y. And my two pods over here, you guys are going to be doing z. So check with your people around you, like, are you getting the same determinant in your new numerator? Okay? And, like, check your diagonals, see if you can find your errors. You guys should be able to calculate the 3 by 3 determinant. Okay, so now's a good time to kind of check in with the people at your groups. Do you agree on the final answer? I will say, just as a hint, they all come out to nice numbers. So if anyone in your group has a fraction or a decimal, maybe help them like by checking your diagonals. Do you agree with diagonals? Like, you know how we do like 48, negative 15, negative 4. Check those numbers with your group and see if you can find out where you went wrong. I'm going to sketch up the work, and then we'll check our answers here in just a minute. Okay, as I move around the room, I see most people setting these up correctly. Whatever variable you're trying to solve for, that's the column in the coefficient matrix that you're going to replace with 12, 1, 22. So if you didn't get the correct answer, your issue is in your computation of the determinant, and you really want to look for your error and decide where am I going wrong with multiplication, with adding, with doing the difference of the sum of the diagonals, figure out what's happening there. Okay, my x groups over here. What did you get for the final numerator determinant value? 110 is correct. Okay, so it should be 110 divided by 55, which equals 2. So now we know x is equal to 2. Y groups, what did you get for your final answer in the numerator for the determinant? The final determinant in the numerator before you divide? Negative 165 divided by 55, which is then negative 3. And then Z's, what did you guys get for your numerator? What's that? 55, yes, thank you guys. 55 divided by 55, which is 1. So then we can take those three and put them down as order triple. So 2, negative 3, positive 1. Now, some people have asked, if they're doing Cramer's rule, on your own, and you're not crowdsourcing with the whole class, and they're finding y and z while you find x, is it okay if I do Cramer's rule for x and Cramer's rule for y, and then just back substitute for z? Yeah, I think that's fair. So, that's an option for you, because the 3 by 3 determinant can take a little while. Then you'd only have to really do 3. Do the one for x, do the one for y, or whichever two you want, and then find the third missing variable. Any questions or concerns? Okay, so you have a homework assignment, which you're going to get started on today. When I come around tomorrow to check homework, nobody should have a blank assignment. I'm going to be real unfriendly to you, and unfriendly is not a good look on me. So just help me out and do some problems here in class. Also, just a couple of announcements. The Chapter 7 test retakes, that deadline is next Tuesday, the 13th. A reminder to those people who have checked out the test and are planning to do that, you actually have to do and write down test corrections. So that could be on the actual test, that could be on a separate sheet of paper, but it needs to be written down so you can hand it in to me. And then you also have to do that 10-question retake assignment that's over there by David on the side board. That needs to be written down and completed. And you got to turn both of those into me before you take the test. Usually I say keep them until your retake time and then bring them with you. If you don't bring them and you tell me you left them at home on your desk, you don't get to retake it. So you have to be responsible and make sure you bring those things with you to the retake. Okay, so make sure that actually happens. The other thing I want to talk about is your gold sheet. I'm going to make a change to our last 3 days here. Okay. So tomorrow you will have a quiz over 8.2 to 8.5. So think about the stations scavenger hunt that you did yesterday, the worksheet review that you did, and then also Cramer's rule. And then after that you'll get your test review and you'll be working on that. Monday is going to be review, so we'll finish up with the test review, go over questions, maybe do a few extra examples, practice a few calculator things, that type of thing. I'm going to move your test from Tuesday to Wednesday. So make a little note to yourself, I'm moving that test from Tuesday to Wednesday. Just as a reminder, the test is like calc and no calc. The calc part is pretty short, right? You input the stuff, you do the thing, and then you're done. So it doesn't take very long. And you'll have time to finish the no calculator on a Wednesday. Okay, it won't be an issue with time. The reason why I'm going to move the test is Tuesday is that day of yearbook photos. And so on the off chance that it runs over into 4th hour, I don't want to have to mess around with people starting or not finishing and all the paperwork that would come with that for me. So I think in matrices you'll be fine if I just move that test back a day. And that I'm going to put something else on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we're actually going to start chapter 9, and you're going to be working on your own on a 9-1 to 9-3 packet. So you'll be working on that on Tuesday in class. You'll be doing like a little bit of prep or studying for matrices that evening and taking the test on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, you'll also be working on the 9-1 to 9-3 packet in class. 9-1 to 9-3 is sequences and series, which is something you talked about last year in Algebra 2. So this gives you an opportunity. It's guided. You're going to use your textbook, so you'll want to bring your textbook those 2 days, Tuesday and Thursday. It guides you through like the different examples we want you to look at, and then you do some practice. But what's really nice about that is it gives you time to think about the patterns and sequences and series. In Algebra 2, it's like one of those things we have to get through to give you the information, but you really just need to work at your own pace and feel comfortable with what the rules and the formulas are saying. So that'll be on your own, and we'd like to have you have those things done by Friday so that we could then like talk about big picture things, the sequences and series together, and give you some of the harder examples. So just kind of be aware of that. That's not we don't need 2 days of review for next week for chapter 8. So I'm going to ask you to work on chapter 9 during that class period on Tuesday. Okay, you can get started on your homework assignment.